Eli, it's an honor and privilege to speak with you. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Um, Here's the thing. By the time this interview is out, the best horror film of 2023 is going to be able to buy out digitally. Like the sound of that?
Wow. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, we've had a
That's
lot of your
good.
cast on the show. It's amazing. I loved everything about it. I just loved there's a lot of things I loved about it. Obviously, you put a lot of like humor in your films as well, which I laughed as well. But my favorite thing that I wanted to talk to you about is there was this two-headed monster thing with Thanksgiving with the slasher component and the whodunit component. And I looked at them differently because you have the traditional films where you know who the killer is, but then you also have the mystery component in this. Did you think about that a lot when you were making this film? I'm just curious about that.
Yeah. Well, we look, I like the whodunit slashers. It's like a
Yeah.
subset of the slashers. There's,
Mhm.
there's, okay, Halloween and all that. But, when you were watching the holiday slashers, the first, like those, with the exception of Halloween or Silent Night, Deadly Night, some of them, whether it was Happy Birthday to Me or Prom Night,
Mhm.
April Fool's Day, My Bloody Valentine, The Prowler, that golden age of slasher, it was all about guessing who the killer is and trying to
Yeah.
stay ahead of the movie and looking for those clues. And I love those movies. In Scream, they still do that, guessing who's in the
Yes.
mask. So that, when it's a good mystery and you can pay it off with a good twist and the red herrings, like the Jallo films did it. I love the Jallo films. So those are I like it when you can pull it off and it's a satisfying twist and you don't see it coming and you can fool the audience. I think it's great. So you
Yeah.
need to have like a really terrific, iconic killer mask, but also who's wearing the mask is equally as important. And when we were shooting it, we realized I think we're making three movies. I think we're making a slasher film, a detective story, and a high school comedy. So
So
you
it's like
better
a
pick
three-headed
one.
monster almost.
It
Yeah.
was a three-headed monster. And in the editing, we realized I was like, I got to pull way back on the detective story and the high school stuff because it just felt like tonally we were all over the place. And I wanted to stay in the slasher film.
This was one of the most immersive horror films I've ever watched where I felt like I was there, especially with the parade and everything. Like I felt like I was there. How does that
That's great.
happen from a filmmaking perspective? Like, I'm just curious from your perspective, how does it happen that it just becomes immersive for the audience member, in your opinion?
Well, I shot it that way. I'm
Yeah.
glad you felt that way because that was the
Yeah.
intent. You can have an objective point of view when you're
Mhm.
watching things and just sort of distance yourself from it and say these are the events that are unfolding. Um, but and you can have it like completely immersive, like you're subjective, where you're the POV of them. But I like those movies where you're with whatever the chaos is, you're with these characters and you keep it intimate. And that was
Yeah.
from the beginning, in that riot scene, I thought the only way this is going to work is if we can follow what's going on and we have to see it through the character's eyes. This is where, okay, this is what, you're into Addison and Tommaso,
Yeah.
here's Gabby and Evan, and this is what they're going through. He's can't stop filming it. And she's going, get the fuck down. Are you crazy? We're going to get killed while she's fighting people.
Yeah.
Scuba and Yulia, and she's getting knocked around. And all of a sudden he goes into like
Mhm.
protector mode. He's like fighting people off because she's
Yeah.
literally going to get trampled to death. And you're watching, Bobby and Jessica are just like, watching this riot happen. His arm gets crushed. So, just then she's trying to get help. So it's keeping it intimate so that the audience can follow everyone's journey,
Mhm.
and staying with them. And that's the importance of close-ups. I think that
Yep.
I will tell you in television, one of the ways they achieve 8 pages a day is they'll set up three cameras. And some directors like to do this where you do a wide, you do a close. But if you have the camera back here and you're shooting a close-up, it's on telephoto lens.
Yeah.
Now that's a very different emotional experience than taking the camera, moving it closer and photographing a true close-up
Yeah.
with the proper lens for a close-up.
Yeah.
So everyone has their own style, and I'm certainly not criticizing, Ridley Scott.
Yeah.
There's
100%.
directors that are brilliant with multiple cameras, but to me, part of it is not shooting, multiple cameras if you're like on a stunt or you have no choice, but just moving the camera close and shooting and lighting, properly lighting true close-ups.
Mhm.
That makes a difference. That's why you're with them.
Yeah.
So when I'm
100%.
shooting a close with Jessica, I don't have three cameras and one of them is on a tight lens. I stop, I move the camera close, I light it,
Mhm.
and you get a completely different emotional reaction
You
from her
swerved
performance.
everyone with Yulia with the contact. We thought something was happening with the contact, but it wasn't, which was also something really funny too. Very quickly, I know that John Carver will slash again. Thanksgiving 2 is going to be a thing very quickly. I know you were very like you crossed, like you said a lot in your, like when you announced it in terms of taking a break, making it the best. Anything you could say about Thanksgiving too, or is it still kind of the same? You're not going to write
It
it.
has to be great. I mean,
Yeah.
we're working through all the possibilities right now. I play the movie in my head every day until I come to a dead end, and then stop and back up and go this way and this way. It's like you're driving, you're sort of driving in the dark. You can't really see where you're going until you kind of find the route through. But I want it to be incredible. I mean, look, I loaded the home video and the discs with tons of extras and audio commentary and deleted scenes and making of and featurettes on the makeup effects with Adrian Moreau and everybody in the cast. We gave everybody handy cams to shoot their own behind the scenes with like old 1999 cameras. So it's a really, as immersive as the movie is, I wanted you to feel when you watch the Blu-ray or DVD that you were there, part of the experience.
Yeah, available to buy on digital. Eli, it was an honor and privilege to speak with you. Thank you for everything you do in the horror movie genre. Thank you for everything you continue to do in the genre. I really appreciate it.
Awesome. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.